Hi, Royal Ones. This is Miss Gigi coming at you again with another juicy episode. Let's get straight into it. We're still trying to come out of we're still wishing Barack Obama happy President's Day. Yes, President's Day was February 20th, but I have over 300 topics that I want to address and talk about specifically. So it's taken me a long time to flesh out because it's extensive. It's long and it's a lot of content. So I'm trying to make sure I get everything out thoroughly so that we can have a conversation because I don't want to overwhelm you with information. Now we're on part 14. Um, we're celebrating our first black president, and the reason why I say he's our first black president because they say that there are six other presidents that came before him. They said Abraham Lincoln, Warren Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Dwight Eisenhower, Andrew Jackson, and Thomas Jefferson. Well, let me tell you something. They hid behind their white privilege, and so that they're white to me because they didn't embrace their DNA at the time, their African DNA. So if you hide behind your DNA, then to assume position to advance in life, it's called passing. They're so fair skinned that you couldn't see that they were mixed with African American. So if you wanted to be that to ascend to higher powers and use your white power to ascend in life and ascend to the presidency, well then that's fine. Then you'll always be white to me. But I'm not gonna, to me, when I look at them on that wall, I see that he's the only black president compared to Obama. So he has dark skin. They have white skin. They hid behind their white privilege. So therefore that white power and all that, they hid behind that. And so I know back then it was a lot of racists and they would have been hanged and beaten and drug in the street if they would admit it that they were black. So they hid behind that. So we let you assume that position as a white man. So I won't embrace them as being black. I embrace them as being white. Obama is our first black president because he admitted his Kenyan roots. He showed his black family. He never hid behind that. He admitted his mom was a white woman from Kansas. That's fine. But he embraced his African DNA. So we respect you, Obama. We love you. And we relate to you. All right. So back to the story. We're on part 14. And I love Obama's approach to the defense, U.S. defense, and national security. I think this was very, very, oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to get straight into it. Let's get straight into it. 211. Obama created a comprehensive new strategy for dealing with international nuclear threat. Number 212. Obama authorized a $1.2 billion reduction in the Star Wars program in 2010. Did you know that there was a Star Wars program? What is the Star Wars program? I'm glad you asked. It is a strategic defense initiative proposed by Ronald Reagan during a television address. He addressed the nation on March 23rd back in 1983 because parts of the defense system would be in space. He named it after the movie, obviously, but the SDI program, which means Strategic Defense Initiative, it was intended to defend the United States from the attacks from the Soviet intercontinental ballistic missiles by intercepting the missiles at various phases during their flight. The space and earth-based lasers from the battle stations, it would direct the killing beams toward the moving targets. So the sensors to detect the attacks would be based on the ground, in air, and in space. And they would use radar, optical, and infrared threat systems to detect the moving of the target, the ballistic missiles. That's a lot. So he authorized a reduction, a $1.4 billion reduction in the Star Wars program. Do we really need that? What? Seriously, we don't. That's overkill. That's like a lot. That took a lot out of me explaining that to you because that just seemed like a lot of military in attacking someone. I remember there was a time when all you can do was send over a Marine to go over there and beat somebody butt, and then that would end the whole fight right there. That would end the whole war. Because sometimes all you need is a good ass whooping. All this nuclear weapons and space Star Wars programs, stuff like that. All this advancement in technology, that's not necessary. Just send the FBI over there to kick their ass. That's it. Period. I mean, this is a lot of energy. And I remember back in what was that? Back in the 60s and the 70s, they sent something called Agent Orange over to Vietnam. And they killed like over 400,000 soldiers and 4 million Vietnamese people, soldiers over there. And there was a study that showed a link, though. Even though the U.S., they say won the war, but what did you really win? Because the side effects came up with the birth defects. The children, look at the quality of life after the war. They dropped like 81 million liters of Agent Orange over there. And it poisoned the people, and it stands as one of the greatest war crimes ever. And we don't need to be doing that no more, because the babies was born with birth defects like spinal bifida. They had like cleft lip and congenital heart defects and limb defects like missing or maldeformed arms and legs and stuff like that. Maldeformed fingers and toes. They had like hernias and Down syndrome and other chronological disorders. And, you know, spina bifida, you get that while you still in the womb. And so if you know, babies are being exposed to that. And this is the quality of life after you think you won. After you think you won. It depends on what you won. And then, you know, the veterans, the soldiers who fought during that time who was being exposed back in like 62 to 75, they had the soldiers that did survive, they end up getting sick and dying from, you know, type 2 diabetes and bladder cancer, leukemia, Hodgkin disease, and chloroacne. It's like a skin disease condition that occurs after you've been exposed to the Agent Orange, and then it would disable the person within 1 year of being exposed. Like, really? You didn't win anything. You won a plague is what they sound like. And then they had like something called ischemic heart disease. And it's a disease that, you know, reduces the blood flow to the heart that leads to chest pain. They had something called, the soldiers who was exposed to Agent Orange, they had like, got sick with like multiple myeloma. It's a cancer of the plasma. It's a type of white blood cell in the bone marrow. So now plasma, it was once used to save lives, and bone marrow is used to save lives. Now they got cancer in the plasma cells and in the white blood cells and bone marrow. You know, non-Hodgkin's disease, lymphoma. It's a type of cancer that affects the lymph glands and other lymphatic tissues. Parkinson's disease, Parkinsonism. Parkinsonism is the abnormal movement and slow movement, trouble speaking and stiff muscles, and causes tremors and stuff. And Parkinson's disease is a progressive disorder of the nervous system that affects the muscle movement. And then they also was dying from prostate cancer, respiratory cancers, and they had something called, they was getting sick from soft tissue sarcomas. Soft tissue sarcomas is a different type of cancer in the body tissues, such as like your muscle and your fat and your blood and lymph vessels. So we don't need to be doing any of these nuclear. We need to start thinking about this attacks on different countries, and because this is when you win when you go to war. This is what happens on both sides. This is the consequences. Nobody wins, and you spraying stuff in the air. And nobody wins. The enemy, they get sick and they die, and the soldiers, they carry that stuff in their blood and in their sperm, and then, you know, and it travels when they give birth, and then it causes generational birth defects. So when you win the war, you come back home, you still got that war in their body and in their mind, and their children are born with these different mental diseases and stuff like that. So I appreciate how he also, and I'm jumping ahead, but he signed a another deal to negotiate with a different skills of negotiating with them, because we don't need to at war. We need to handle this differently and have a different conversation. Number 213, Obama restarted the nuclear non-proliferation talks and built up nuclear inspection infrastructure protocol to where they have been before Bush. So yeah, we need to talk about, you don't need to have all these nuclear weapons. When you do that, both sides lose. Everybody gets sick and dies. You know, don't do that. We don't need to do that. So I appreciate he did that. I appreciate he taking this approach for national security. Number 214, he signed and got the ratification of a new SALT treaty. A new SALT treaty is the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, which is basically an international treaty that was signed between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, and the global reduction of the long-range ballistic missiles that each side could possess. They said that each side could possess 2. That was the agreement. And another part of this was the reduction of the delivery of these vehicles. And they imposed restraints on the development of which country could, which could threaten future stability. We don't need to be having these long-range ballistic missiles. All we need to do is sit down and talk. That's why the FBI negotiators are there. We need to have a conversation before we launch all these crazy missiles in the air. It's affecting the future. That's going to affect the future no matter what you do. It's gonna be for the rest of our lives. So I appreciate that he started that and was very successful in starting the ratification of the new SALT treaty. And also, Obama negotiated and signed a new START treaty that will stay in effect until 2021. And then the U.S. and the Russian feds agreed on a 5-year extension to keep it in force through February 4th, 2026. It's a negotiation between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. It's the reduction. It's still talking about the reducing arsenals of nuclear weapons. So that's the START program, the Strategic Arms Reduction Talk. They're reducing the nuclear warheads. Number 216, Obama committed the U.S. to no permanent military base in Iraq. I agree with that. Leave them people alone. The war is over. The troops are home. Let bygones be bygones. You live your life. We live our life. Number 217, Obama developed a comprehensive strategy with regards to Afghanistan and Pakistan designed to facilitate the defeat of al-Qaeda, the withdrawal of most troops, and the rebuilding of Afghanistan. I agree. The war is over. The troops are home. We will go over there and rebuild and keep the negotiations between them peaceful. But the war is over, and let's move on with our lives. Number 218, Obama refocused on Afghanistan, stabilizing the country, and to begin the process of withdrawing troops from the country. I agree. That was good. That was real good. Reducing the troops from the country. Number 219, Obama negotiated a deal with the Afghan government to withdraw troops and military support while assisting in rebuilding and modernizing the country. Very good. Very good. Yes. Number 220, Obama took steps to severely weaken al-Qaeda and limit their ability to terrorize the world. That's important because, like I was saying, the military is necessary, and there are bad people in the world. And there are people that want to take over the United States, and there are people that go around terrorizing everybody. But like I said, all they need is a good ass whooping from the Marines and the military, and then they'll be all right. We don't have to go in with all these nuclear weapons and all these poisonous stuff that's gonna, disrupt their future. We just go in there and just beat them, get out of there. Just send the military in and get out. That's it. Number 221, Obama negotiated and signed a nuclear non-proliferation treaty with India. That was very important. Number 220, Obama worked with NATO to limit the slaughter of innocents in Libya so that Libyans could topple the despot Gaddafi government and determine their own fate. Yeah, he was a bad president. They didn't want him anymore. So they wanted to determine their own fate, and people have a right to choose who they want to be their president, to be their leader. That's why we have a voting system in place. If we want someone to lead us and who we choose. So they have a right to choose, just like we have a right. We voted and made our choice. Number 223, Obama got Egyptian president and dictator Mubarak to leave the Egyptian government to the people to determine their own fate. Absolutely. To determine their own fate. Yep. Number 224, in 2011, Obama re-entered, oh my God, I can't say that word. He focused the American focus from the Middle East to the Asian Pacific region by simultaneously engaging China and crafting new allies with Asian countries that's uncomfortable with Chinese behavior. So what he did was he refocused America, because we were focused one time on the Middle East, and we was making, adjustments and making life better for them in the Middle East. So he changed the focus from the Middle East to the Asian Pacific region by simultaneously engaging China and crafting new allies with Asian countries that are uncomfortable with Chinese behavior. Because China is the human rights violation of the world, and so they was doing a lot of stuff that was against human rights. So they was violating human rights. Number 225, Obama restored federal agencies such as FEMA to the point that they have been able to manage a huge number of natural disasters successfully. Yes, because there are a lot of people around the world that need rescuing, and they don't have the resources to help their people when there's a hurricane or a tornado or a twister or a tsunami or something like that happens, and they can't take care of the people because it's like all at once. It's like an overwhelming amount of people that's affected, like thousands of people at one time. So FEMA do need the resources to be able to handle a large surge of people that's injured or large amount of people that's affected by a crisis. Especially during hurricane season. That's crazy. And different countries have different seasons when things happen. So snowstorms and blizzards and stuff like that hurt people, that get people dislocated. So I applaud FEMA for their rescue efforts to maintain stability during times of crisis. God bless you all, and may God continue to give you the wisdom and the speed to respond to people and help them and save many lives. Amen. 226, Obama increased border security. Okay, amen. The military is necessary. 227, Obama ordered and oversaw the Navy SEALs operations that killed Osama bin Laden. That was really amazing. That was our victory. That was good. He did that properly, and he did that with professionalism. Yes. 228, Obama established the Homeland Security Partnership Council to enhance the nation's ability to address Homeland security priorities, from responding to natural disasters to preventing terrorism, by utilizing diverse perspectives, skills, and tools and resources. So yes, that's very important. So instead of just going into our arsenal of overkill of military weapons, like I said, the FBI negotiation talks, when you sit down and talk to somebody and figure out, get to the bottom of it, it's better than just sending missiles over there or dropping WMDs on somebody. Just talk about it and get them to try to diffuse their anger. And once you get to the mind, get in their mind psychologically, find out, how can we change the narrative? Can we change your mind and not be so angry and respond like this? So, and with these hostages, they call hostage negotiators and stuff like that. We need to, figure out how to diffuse them instead of attacking them. So, 229, Obama signed agreements with Afghanistan to end war and turn security over to the Afghans. Yes, we needed to get out of there and get back home and on U.S. soil and protect our own borders. Absolutely. 230, Obama breaking with recent presidential tradition. Instead of just attacking Syria in the wake of chemical weapons attacks on Syrians, Obama ordered a full report on the decision-making process. Yes, we need to make better decisions instead of chemical attacks. Oh my God. That was very important, Obama. I like the way he handled this section of national security in regards to being the president. 231, instead of holding hearings and creating a political football, he quietly captured a suspect who actually committed 2 Benghazi terrorist attacks. He also got a lot of useful information from the suspect. Yeah, so he was saying that he wasn't the only one, and where they was gonna plot launch next, and who, how many was in the with him, and everything like that. So I mean, I appreciate the way he handled that. 232. Obama instituted rules to order sanctions against individuals and groups that threaten national cybersecurity. Yeah, I remember there were videos of these terrorists putting people as hostages. They were demanding money from the FBI. You really think the FBI gonna turn over $2 million to you because you got a video of somebody you kidnapping people? It was a lot of stuff going on back then. I remember that, and I'm so glad that he he instituted rules to order sanctions against individuals and groups, and he got them out of there. And the FBI is really intelligent now, so they have ways to trace people where they are in the exact location where that video is happening and certain things are happening. So that's really cool. 233. Obama instituted tougher sanctions against North Korea after threats of nuclear attack and several tests. North Korea got mission issues, period. They act like they Russians. They just like they, you know, I don't even want to talk about North Korea hardly. We just gotta keep them in prayer. This nuclear it's not gonna affect them in a way that they think it's not gonna happen like that. Once you attack somebody in a nuclear way, that stuff is, like I told you, it's gonna be airborne. And when it gets to the soil, it's gonna go down to the water aquifer, and then you're gonna be turning on your water tap, and it's gonna be like you drinking the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. When that stuff is airborne, everybody's affected. And then, like I said, you get all these types of illnesses and diseases later on. So 234, Obama took concrete steps to improve our counter-terrorism efforts. Yes, improve counter-terrorism efforts. Instead of responding with chemical wars, with the WMDs and stuff, talk. We gotta, that's communication. Yeah. 235, Obama made great strides in defeating the Islamic State without committing hundreds of thousands of troops or carpet bombing civilians against Republican objections. Yes, like I said, you got to figure out a way to go in and with a non-violent approach as much as possible, but without using WMDs. And sometimes, you know, they need a good ass whooping is all they need. They don't need nuclear with these nuclear weapons. If you can't do a nonviolent approach to these when negotiating with these terrorists, send in the military to fight them, to attack them and disarm them, instead of creating more harm by launching something airborne that's gonna affect generations. And you know, because like I said, these people are still sick from effects of Agent Orange. So we got to be mindful. And I'm so glad that Obama took the steps to national security, to address the national security and keeping us safe instead of going about using WMDs. You know, he took different steps to negotiate. Meet me in the comment section, Roy Ones, and tell me what you think about Obama's approach to defense and national security. I appreciate his reduction in the Star Wars program. We really need to tone it down a little bit and not be so war-minded and using and quick to use these WMDs. We need to be safe here in the United States. We have accomplished a lot in our lives, and we want to live to be an old age and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And we don't want to have to live with these different diseases and stuff like that. We want to live a fruitful life and healthy life as much as possible. We work hard for our money. We work hard. We want to enjoy our loved ones for years to come. Meet me in the comment section and tell me what you think about Obama's approach to defense and national security. Thank you so much for listening to this message. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. Love, hugs, and kisses. Bye.